It's Dr. Amanda with Straightsmile Solutions, straightsmilesolutions.com, and I'm going to talk more about phase one interceptive orthodontics, but I'm going to talk about compliance. And I'm going to talk about something, I don't mind giving my good ideas. Maybe it's a bad idea. I'm not sure. But I was actually listening to yet another one of my podcasts. I listen to a lot of podcasts. This was another one with Orthodontic Pearls, which is probably one of my new favorite orthodontic podcasts. I've talked about them a lot in the last week. Only because before all the orthodontists just whined and moaned and complained, and there was nothing valuable in for years in the podcast in the orthodontic arena. But all of a sudden now they are getting it. I mean, they better get it, because after dozens of years of general dentists and pediatric dentists starting to creep into their territory, and direct to consumer and private equity, people have realized that there's a lot of money in orthodontics and there's a lot of opportunity. And unfortunately, the orthodontists up until recently weren't doing things in a way that was sustainable. What were they doing? They were doing mostly fixed, mostly 4-week intervals. It wasn't what people wanted. And people realize now that you can do a lot of stuff virtually and you can do removable, and no one needs to see it. And it shouldn't hurt. So why not have a better experience? Orthodontics, the way it was back in the 80s and 90s and even early 2000s, was a terrible experience that people just assumed that it was something that every teenager or preteen would have to go through. It was just a stinky part about adolescence, and it sucked. And no one has a good story. I have bad stories of having braces in high school. I'm sure you all do. It was terrible. It was painful. It was annoying. I had to miss school. It cut my mouth. I couldn't eat things. And to be honest, I have massive root resorption as a result of work not done right. So it was sour for me, but interesting. And I said, why can't we do it better? And that's part of the reason I went into orthodontics. And if you follow my YouTube channel with over 2,400 videos and a couple courses at straightsmilesolutions.com, you'll know my favorite orthodontics is phase one interceptive. Why? Because you can do magical things. Kids are, for the most part, extremely compliant at that age. They want to be there. If you like the kid and you like the family, you will have a great time. And the vast majority of it can be done in most states and countries by your team. The doctor really is just the brains of the operation. They are directing the train. That's all they're doing. They're steering the bus. That's all you're doing. You don't really have to do any of it, especially if you're not picking things that are complicated mousetraps. So, I mean, you only have to know how to do it if you have to jump in. So for that reason, I want to get you guys a little more excited and to get into my brain. And again, I was listening to one of these podcasts, and they were talking about compliance and how they were creating one of these doctors was creating, actually, no, it was someone in the marketing aspect of, Tony Paniche. That's who it was. Tony Paniche. He said he created a company that he was going to create a company that helped with compliance, or he creates programs through his parents' consulting company, where it was some type of company where, or a program where the kids would get like an ID card on a lanyard. And then every time they came in, they had an opportunity to earn a special pin. And these were special pins that had been created for the practice. Like one of them might be helping your parents cook a meal. One of them might be more like good hygiene. And then they would collect so many pins, almost like Disneyland. If you go to Disneyland, or even like a Taylor Swift concert with the bracelets and stuff, there's certain things you have to collect, or Pokemon cards. It's like that. And the idea was that they would wear these to school and it would be free advertising, free internal marketing, right? Smart. But I kind of ran the numbers through my head and I was like, okay, how much are these enamel pins that are custom? Okay, $5 to $10 each, unless you buy them in major bulk. Lanyard's not expensive. They had to buy an ID card machine, which was almost $1,000 for the office. So price point to start it up, hard costs over maybe a $1,500 investment. Well, no, not with the pins. Maybe 3,000 or 4,000. Not bad. But would a kid be into that? And I said, what is a cheaper way that you could do this and get the same outcome? And then, of course, my brain, which always goes a mile a minute, was thinking about something that I did with my kids, and that was scavenger hunt bingo. So scavenger hunt bingo, and this was, unfortunately, I do have a kind of a sample hanging on our wall, but it has my kids' faces on it, and I've done all kind of creative stuff. But I know the price point to make this, so this is easy. So picture this: picture a 10 by 10 grid, so 100 squares, right? 10 up, 10 down. Okay, it doesn't have to be too big, but it needs to be big enough so you can read the words. So I would say it's pretty big, and it could be customized. You could print these out easily. I mean, I think I would have a junior version, which would be for 10 and under-ish, or phase one, and a senior version, which would be for over 10, more for the older teens and tweens, because these are going to be very different interests and very different incentives. And by the way, I'm going to backtrack. When I worked for a DSO, maybe it was 2016 summer, and the CEO of the DSO, I was helping them scale their ortho operations in more offices and trying to make it more profitable and try to get more starts. And this is something we were doing. Not this exact idea, but he was really into incentives for patients, incentives for teams, and making them real creative, but not expensive. And the stuff he came up with was amazing. And this is kind of how I'm still on this story. So anyways, 10 by 10 grid, right? Each one of those, almost like a bingo card, but a bingo card is normally 5 by 5, but I've seen bigger versions of it. But in each of them is either a scavenger hunt piece to do or a job to do, like something that they can do. And once they get 10 across, 10 down or 10 diagonal, if I'm doing my math right, there's 12 different ways. No, there's more than 12. There's 10 different ways down, 10 different ways across, plus the 2 diagonal. There's 22 different ways that they could get bingo. So this game, and this is what they were kind of doing with the scavenger pins in this office that Tony was getting into in this podcast, is that it was a game that keeps going on. And if they're not interested, they don't have to do it. But everyone gets the game card, or everyone got the lanyard with the ID card on the first day they walk into the office, even if they didn't start ortho. As long as they walked into the office for a consult, they got the card if they wanted to play. It was up to them. And I mean, to me, I'll tell you the price point I'm making the card. Cheap, because like I said I do this for my kids already. So I have a guy at Fiverr. He makes these for me real easy. Matter of fact, he even makes shuffle versions where he does different versions of them, in different orders. So you could totally shuffle it almost like an exam. So you didn't have the exact one for every kid in the family, because I'm telling you, they will cheat if you do that. So you got to shuffle it. You got to have like an A, B, C, D version, kind of like quizzes and tests, in high school. You had different versions. So different versions, okay, 10 by 10. And basically the idea is every time they come into the office, they have an opportunity to earn 1 sticker for this card. Now you'd have to make custom stickers, of course, because you don't want someone to print the stickers at home. And the stickers will say what it is. So you have, basically a sticker, that they've completed that challenge, right? And you might even have some wild stickers and some, to make it almost like an Uno. But anyways, we won't get into that. So, for the junior version, maybe you have challenges like learn a new instrument, or, super clean teeth at the appointment. So it could be stuff when they come in, or wore elastics perfectly, but it's got to be something where it's a combination of dental stuff and just being a good human. Almost think about this. If you have a kid in Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts, when they're little, they have so much exploratory belt loops and badges. That's just so fun. Like go on a geocache, really, really cook a meal, with your parents, cook a meal for your parents. So, but the idea is that they can't just say they did it. They got to bring in proof that they did it to the appointment. So it really and they got to bring the card in. So if they bring this, and if they get 10 across, they get a prize. It might be like a 10, choose one of these gift cards, and it doesn't have to be huge, super huge, just something. But the idea is that you guys probably are like, why are we doing this? First of all, you always have like a photo wall in your office, and I have content about how to make a photo wall. They're not expensive to put up, where they got to take a picture of themselves and whatever it is that they're show and telling, they got to bring it in, or they got to bring a picture of it in, or even better, this is the goal, is that they can post it and tag the office. So that is the key. They post it. So we're not trying to make it obvious that that's the goal, but the more there's posting and tagging going on, and certainly you could give a wild card incentive or other boosters for that. And that's kind of my thought. So I don't want to make it too obvious that the parents think this is the goal, is internal marketing, that we're just trying to celebrate the kid. We're trying to get them excited about coming into the office. And my own pediatric dentist, starting from when I was 2 years old, which was in Berkeley, California, they did stuff like this. And I don't remember exactly what it was, but I remember every time I came in, there was challenges, there was games, there was ways I could earn prizes. And it wasn't all connected to my clean teeth, which I always had clean teeth, right? But I was always psyched because I never knew what the challenge was going to be coming in there. And they always had contests and challenges, count these candies in the jar. And, a lot of it was very 80s stuff, but it was so fun going in there. I never dreaded it. And it was always just an adventure. And that made me want to become a dentist. So I don't know. I know I'm connecting the dots here. But anyways, again, think of this 10 by 10 grid. The junior version is going to be more little kid stuff, maybe stuff you'd see. But anything, like try it, play a new sport. try a new sport, earn a medal in a sport. I mean, it's got to be, like I said, there's 22 different challenges they can go on, so they can pick which ones they want to go for, right? And there's opportunities maybe to get boosters and wild cards to fill it out, but, feed a pet. That's for the junior version. Older version, it's going to be a little bit more preteen and teen oriented. Take an AP class, maybe take an advanced, take an honors class, help an elderly neighbor with a project. Again, they have to bring in proof somehow. So whether someone signs something, sends a picture, someone else posts something showing it, there's got to be some type of proof. And the more tags you can get, the better, right? On their own social media. Teenage versions, I mean, so much. I'm trying to think of all the things they do outside school, after school. I think it would be so cool. And if they don't want to do it, like I said, who the heck cares if they don't want to do it? But anyways, I thought this would be inspirational for you guys if you're worried about compliance-based mechanics. All right, thanks.